Shalom. So in this video, we're going to talk about Genesis chapter 1 and verse 5, right? So we're going to talk about the evening and the morning. We need to understand what an evening is, what a morning is, in its concrete understanding, functional, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to use the more modern words, all right? Instead of saying evening and morning, we're going to use the terms that we're accustomed to in this culture. Then we can work our way back to the ancient culture, right? So we're going to read Genesis chapter 1 and verse 5, but we're going to start at verse 3. It says, "And God said, Let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness." Verse 5, "And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day." So let's read verse 5 once again, but we're going to use the more modern terms, which is PM and AM. Then we can look at it in a practical sense. Verse 5, "And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the PM and the AM were the first day." Now, what is PM? What is AM? Let's understand it. We have PM, AM. We all relate to these terms today, right? Now, before we understand PM and AM, let's first deal with the common denominator, the M, right? Once we understand what the M is, we can understand P and A afterwards, right? So what does the M mean? It stands for meridian. Now, this is just understanding the word, but what is the function? What is the meridian, right? Now, the meridian is, again, this diagram here is not a diagram of the earth. This is the heavens, right? This is the horizon of the heavens. Now, you use the first light to get first your cardinal points: east, west, north, and south. Now, you're standing here at the center. Now, above your head, this line running from the south, from that way, coming all the way back over your head towards the north, that is what you call the meridian in its functional definition, right? Now that we understand what the meridian is, now we can deal with the A and the P. Now you have the AM, the PM. It means before and after. So it's saying before the meridian and after the meridian. Now, before you deal with the before and after, you have to also deal with what is it that is before the meridian and after the meridian. Now, we just read from verse 3 for context sake, and it spoke about a light, singular form. So we have to first identify now what is that actual light. Is it the constellations? Is it the moon? Is it the sun? Well, the only way you can know is by the concrete definition. What was the function? Divide the light from the dark. Does the moon divide the light from the dark? Do the constellations divide the light from the dark? Does the sun divide the light from the dark? Yes. So now we have an understanding of what the light is. So now we're dealing with the sun. So the light that's before the meridian or after the meridian, we can now understand that we're talking about the sun as the object of light. So from the eastern horizon to over your head, that is the morning. And from over your head to the western horizon, that is the evening. That's what you call PM. Remember, you are dealing with a specific light. So the sun, when it's from this point to this point, that is called evening and morning, PM and AM. Once it goes beyond this western horizon, guess what? You're dealing with another light, the moon and the constellations, which has nothing to do with AM or PM. The moon and the constellations, they rule over the night. They do not rule over morning. They do not rule over evening. They do not rule over the day. It says the lesser light to rule the night. What is the lesser light? The moon and the constellations. They work together. So once the sun goes beyond this point, which you call dusk, and over here you call it dawn, once the dusk comes to an end, you are going into what? Darkness. 12 hours of darkness. Now, dealing with hours, this is a problem when you look at the Western clock system because it's showing you that in the middle of the day, you would be at what? 12 o'clock. So we understand that it's from the rising of the sun to the dusk. So that period would be 12 hours. So the end of the 12th hour would be what? A transitioning from either day into night or night into day. But with the clock system of this society, when you're at the 12th hour, you are in the middle of something. So this is backwards. The first hour of dawn has to be the first hour. But because they gave us this central um universal time, put it that way. So everything is measured from Greenwich, London. So our dawn would start at say 6 o'clock. The only reason it starts at 6 is because they're measuring the degrees from England to where we are. So when we're having the first hour in reality on the clock system, we're at the 6th hour. But where is the sun? The sun is just coming over the eastern horizon, which would be the first hour. So all this clock system is really backwards. At the 6th hour, it's the middle. The sun should be over your head, round about there. At the 12th hour, you are coming out of one thing, which is the day, and you're ushering what? The night. So we have to kind of at least separate our understanding the timing with the heavens and the timing with the clocks. It is systematic. The 0 degrees should not be in England. Wherever you are has its own 0 degrees. So if we're able to go back to at least 1883, we would understand this. But after 1884, with the the train stations and all of those technology, everything moving fast, man traveling faster, it's hard for us to even relate back to that because this clock system is now set up on what? Commerce. For example, two places can be having the same sunset and the same sunrise, but yet they are 24 hours. They are a calendar date apart. How is that possible? So we, from our Hebraic standpoint, we like to have a concrete definition to define whatever we believe in. So when it says the evening and the morning were the first day, it's talking about the PM and the AM, not like the Romans that say PM is from 12 until 12 in the night, and then AM is from 12 in the night until 12 in the day. Our systems do not work like that. 12 is what divides the two. So the light traveling from here to the western horizon, that would be 12 hours. And then you're doing what? You're going into the first hour of the night, and the cycle goes all the way around. Once you believe that the evening runs from midday to midnight, you already have a major problem. So in order for them to make this sounds or seem real, they gave you something called what? Afternoon. So after you pass 6 hours of day, instead of calling here the beginning of your evening, you now call it what? Afternoon. What is afternoon? In the Bible, it's called evening. Once the midday is past, that time period is called evening. You will never find afternoon in the Bible, not in context, not in the actual word itself. There is not a Hebrew word for that in the Bible. That thought never existed among our people. It's morning, midday, and evening, and that's the duration of a day. So I hope this gives a little bit of clarity on what an evening is, what a morning is, and that is no different from when you say PM and AM. If you go by the functional or concrete definition of what PM really means, AM really means, and what light is making reference to the before the meridian and to the after the meridian. Shalom.